Hello, it's Kevin here. Welcome to another video. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do an essay review. So if you're watching this on YouTube or on Telegram, Apparat or IELTS 9 Pro or Instagram, etc., I'll just give you a bit of background. So we've got the Telegram group, IELTS 9 Pro, and we've been running down the Cambridge papers, the previous ones, writing task 1, but occasionally, maybe once a week, we're going to do an essay. I'll post an essay and I'll invite people to respond. I only got one response to this particular one. The previous week I got about 5, but this week I only got 1, so that's what we're going to take a look at now. So first things first, disclaimer, fair use, teaching, blah, 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 so no complaints. Now, I've got the criteria, if need be, and this is the question, and this is my sample. Okay, so some people say history is one of the most important school subjects. Other people think in today's world, subjects like science, technology are more important. So it's a discussion. Okay, so the usual structure: view 1, paragraph 2, view 3, view 2, paragraph number 3, conclusion, etc. Okay. Now, your opinion must be clear all the way, so you can do 5 paragraphs and then, having considered my opinion is, but really they like it if you do 4 and your opinion is clear. Now, for this one here, I talk about both sides and actually say, well, yeah, I think both equal value, because you need to know how the past shapes where we are now, and you need to be able to function in this current world. So I think both are equally important, and then I explain how and why. So let's have a quick look, and we'll take a look at the essay I'm going to review. So according to some, the most important courses taught at school: history, others would argue science. So sentence 1, every time, paraphrase the topic, restate the topic, all right, every time. If it's some people say, you can do according to some, not a group, some group of individuals that you sometimes see people use, that is not the same. So you can simply do according to some, or even say some people, right? Some people argue, some people think, right? You've got to paraphrase it, but you don't have to change it beyond recognition. So sentence 1, restate the topic. Sentence 2, answer the question. In my view, both equal value for 2 reasons. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about that. Okay, so you've got your outline sentence. So, historical awareness of your own country is vital. It is vital. Why? Because it shapes your personal and national identity. Yeah? For example, in the UK, history is taught as part of the national curriculum: fight against the Nazis, ending slavery, foundations of parliamentary democracy. All that stuff is taught in school with classes on citizenship. Now they teach this so the British people know where they came from, to encourage them to respect democracy, what came before, the rule of law, etc. So history being taught at school in that sense is vital to shape national and personal identity. At least I think so. If you don't know where you came, if you don't know anything about the history of your country, it's difficult to understand why things are and how things will or should be in the future. Anyway, that's what I say there. I say, yep, very important. However, though, knowledge of science equally important, especially for work and modern life. So why? Well, without computer skills, if you don't have some ideas, now I'm talking about, now it says here like science and technology. So what you need to essentially do for these kind of questions, you have to have a focal point, because, right, history, in this one, I specifically refer to historical events in my country. So it's not just history in general, it's a focal point. My country's history, your country's history, you should learn about that. You should know where you came from your country's place in the world. So it's not just history in general. The same thing, technology, science. You could argue computer skills are not necessarily science, but technology, they certainly are. So I'm saying here that, right, so again, particular focus, right? So without computer skills, I could have said technological skills, which is basically the same, but without some understanding of how computers, laptops, internet works, technology, without some understanding, it's going to be very difficult to get a good job and function. You can go and stack shelves in Tesco if you want. Nothing wrong with that, or empty dustbins. But if you want something more, you need to understand how this shit works. That's just a fact, all right? If you consider how so much we rely on computers, it should be apparent that this should be taught in school, because you need it. If you can't use this stuff in today's world, you can't function. Anyway, in conclusion, I think both. Without this history knowledge, we can't have a strong sense of identity. Without computer skills, difficult to operate fully. Okay, so anyway, so just over 300 words, all right? So I think that's good. So you can see what I'm talking about here, the focal point. So it's not just history in general at random, it's particular history, that's important. Particular, scientific stroke tech skills, computer usage. Now the reason why I mention that, this next essay is good, but it's a little bit vague. It's a little bit vague. It doesn't really quite have that focus. Let's have a look. So, opinions are divided when it comes to the importance of history as a school subject. Although some people think, others stress. So, introduction is good. Introduction is good. In my view, the latter view, you could maybe put a better outline sentence, more logical. Okay. So, it's true history can be beneficial. Right. This subject can give lessons to students reading it. Now, it could be argued that every subject can teach you something, otherwise they wouldn't teach it. So that sentence is a bit roundabout. It's like, any subject can teach you something, so what does that mean? All right. A lot of significant and effective. How can you have an effective event? What does that mean? You can have a significant historical event, but how can you have an effective event? What does that mean? That's not as clear as it could be. This subject can give lessons. Well, every subject can. So again, what does that mean? Okay, for example, by studying history, and again, what particular aspect of history are you talking about? What particular aspect? Students can acquire extensive knowledge related to politics. Well, yeah, but surely that subject is politics. It's not necessarily, history and politics are often taught as a joint honours at English universities. I did a bachelor's in history and politics. But is history necessarily identical to politics? Well, no, it depends what historical period. Are you talking about modern, early modern, medieval? What history are you talking about? So, extensive knowledge related to politics. Well, why necessarily, and what aspect of history would you acquire this? And why would that be important? So, in fact, they read about past political decisions by whom, what are you talking about? And some parts that were hidden. Parts of what? What does that mean? So, so it's not as focused, it's not as clear as the previous one. Then students can be aware of the tangible as opposed to what? The intangible. So what does that mean? Such people understand politics better because. So, right, it's a little bit vague. We'll come to the criteria in a moment, but I hope you can see what I'm talking about here. It's not bad, but it's just it's not specific, it's not focused. right? I say national history, certain aspects, because it leads to this, it leads to that, it leads to this. But this is a little bit vague, overly general, in fact. But anyway, continue. Science and technology create positive effects, and can perceive a lot of things. Well, right. So these two sentences here are essentially saying the same thing, are they not? Science and technology can have greater positive effects on pupils' lives. Such as what? By acquiring knowledge, they can perceive a lot of things they are obliged to face. Such as what? What does that mean? How is that different from the previous sentence? Really? Now about mathematics, physics and chemistry, in addition to innovations. Now, innovations, that can be anything. It's not necessarily related to technology or science. Do you mean inventions? Do you mean technological inventions? Can help pupils to be more successful. Successful how? Successful about what? Identify their talents by reading these subjects. Again, what does that mean? Identify their talents. Well, how can you do that? So, first, you say that if you learn about this, you can perceive a lot of things. Which means what? It can have a positive effect. You can perceive things. Right? Help them to be more successful. How? Identify their talents. What does that mean? So, what talents do you identify? How can you identify that? So they can find better jobs. Yeah, but doing what? What, like as a chemist, as an inventor? As well as this, such students can be beneficial. Learned how to be innovative. Well, and many of us. So you've got three different things in this paragraph, and not one of them is adequately explained. Many of us are. So we have advantages, but it's going to be a compulsory lesson. We'll put it in our lives. We need to pay more attention to them. Okay. So that's not, that's kind of more understandable, I think, than this paragraph here. Because this one, it's a little bit vague. We've got three different things. And the problems the community can be encountered or can be encountered with, can encounter. So, let's take a look at the criteria then. So, the grammars, right, so in general, right, the English part of this is good. Good grammar. Lexis could be a little better. It's, it could be a little, skillful use of common items, some flexibility. It's, it's adequate. It's not too bad. Okay. Cohesion, coherence. Well, logical sequence, the message can be followed. Can you follow the message with ease? Maybe, but information is a logical organization, right? Is there a clear central topic? Well, kind of, but the main thing here really is, like a lot of essays, is task response. Make that a little bit better, that arrow. Right. So, it's about clear, fully developed position directly answers a question. Ideas. Okay, this is what it comes down to, the ideas. Now, overgeneralize. Lack of focus, supporting ideas. I think that would be safe to say. Because if we go back to it, it can give some lessons, some knowledge, some decision. So there's some knowledge about some decisions that they can learn about some situations. Do you not think that sounds a little bit too general? Main ideas are relevant, insufficiently developed, or may lack clarity. I don't think it's not that bad, no. But still, it's very difficult to make out what exactly is the supporting arguments and evidence. What are they? You know? So some lessons or some events that they can learn about, some knowledge, some decisions, some parts that are hidden, tangible results, some people, you know. So this essay is, for the English part, it's good, but I think for the task achievement side, it's not going to be as effective, really, because we're not entirely sure what you're talking about. We can get the general idea, but it's the development of those ideas, I think, where this essay falls a little short. Okay? And, you know, just to show you mine, again, more focused. Okay? Historical awareness is vital. Why? It shapes national identity and citizens. So, for example, it's taught in school on purpose about World War II, believe this. So the idea is that the kids understand the history of their country, where they came from. For example, the Royal Navy essentially ended the Atlantic slave trade. No other country did. So to understand what your nation's achievements were, I won't say it gives you pride, but it gives you an understanding of why, in this case, the UK, why you should be a citizen, why you should respect it, etc. And I'm sure your respective countries have the same kind of things. Yeah. And then science, again, a particular focus without computer skills. If you don't know this, you can't access information, you can't operate things, etc. So I think you can see the difference between the two. So I'll just leave this here and scroll down. Matter of fact, I'll just put it, you can see it all on the screen there. Okay, there you go. So I hope that helps. I say the actual essay itself is not so bad, but it's just, what are you talking about? You need to be more focused. And if you can do that, I think you'll do fine. So, I hope that helps. See you next time.